don't know, Monarch continues to do it, but it topped another regional. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Another regional in the books this time. And this is such a different picture. Like, I had to double check the date on this just to take a look at this and go, where's my meta? You know, where's my big Albaz decks? Where's my, Draco tail? Where are these big where's our, Mitsurugi deck? These decks that people freak out about in the course of the meta, that they're like, these are such problematic challenges. You don't have that here. What you do actually have is, I think Malice was the scariest deck within this top cut, making up 2 of your top cut spots, which, if Malice is running this, that's crazy. Now, like I said, where's our big meta challengers? He had one Draco Tail deck, and it lost out to frickin' Mermail, of all things. Mermail, I think, was one of the biggest surprises out of the course of this event, because realistically, I mean, who's looking at regionals and going, oh, hey, Mermail's still a relevant deck. They've lost the Water Barrier statue. They've lost so many of the tools that really made the water strategy out to be this really broken monster over time. And here it is. It's doing well. We also have that's right, that's $83.90 to build a Magnet Warrior deck. Sub $100 for Yu-Gi-Oh! What? Monarchs, $95.45. What in the tomfoolery? That's crazy. Yeah, look at these decks, man. Look at the cost. Like, this is good. This is amazing. We also had Gem Knights coming in at $248. LOL. And we also had a Memento Challenger. Now, a list we don't have, we were missing both Malice, don't have Draco Tail, which is truthfully fine. And we don't have Memento, which is fine. But to spicing things up, we do have your second place water pile. Now, in terms of how this water pile is going to work, this right here, the first penguin, is going to be one of your biggest assets because it's a free special summon and it does allow for level modification, which I don't think a lot of people really think about this enough, but like, having first penguin also be a discard to reveal a water to add is absurdly good, because this can trigger your water effects, which is really nice. So how are we substituting out, for the loss of the Water Barrier statue? Probably been dubbed one of the much needed things here. Well, we actually have General Ryo here, and Ryo literally says each time a monster effect is activated on your opponent's side of the field, they have to discard a card or it's negated. Having that continuous floodgate applying on your opponent actually does steal some games for you. It's very unfortunate that, like, you have to rely on something like General Ryo, of all things, to be able to kind of close out the gap for you, but this is just a reality of the meta that we're forced to kind of endure at the moment. You need a grinder like this to keep things going. Also, this side deck is so weird to me. They got away with playing triple spiritualism, which, sure, absolutely, man. You were able to actually land this card and make this work. That's crazy. The Minstrel situation. Even now, like, Minstrel has lost a lot of its flair and flavor for being a good card. Most of the lists just choose to play the one at this point, which is perfectly understandable, right? Like, Minstrel going second is a pretty terrible card, but you know this and you acknowledge this, so you have to kind of make those concessions in the deck building process to kind of subvert this. I also see we are playing the anti-magic arrows, so you do have a lot of different methods to kind of shift gears here and try to figure out, hey, I want to go down this pipeline, or I want to shift gears into this, what's going to be the better method to try to do things. And usually I think a deck like Water can adapt pretty well, but this was a very interesting, hodgepodge to see. Now, we also have Geoffrey's Magnet Warrior special. Now, I will say it's pretty crazy interesting just to see, as time has kind of gone on here, how is the Magnet Warrior deck actually kind of holding up versus the rest of the meta? Pretty well, actually. I'm not going to lie to you about that. Now that beta became very, very easy and accessible, we have seen a little bit more that players are actually able to kind of, do other things with this. One big thing that I think helps this build in particular is we actually do have access to the super polys just to kind of be able to break apart a board. And I mean, your only super poly targets here are the Garua and the Mud Dragon, which is perfectly fine. You don't have to actually super bulk down on really bad interactions. I think this is just fine. I also do see we are playing Shared Ride, Double Mistaken Arrest. This is also fine. You're getting a decent amount of coverage here with this, which is actually kind of nice. And we are also side decking 2 different dimensions grounds. If you notice, Thrust has kind of fallen out of the meta, so you're not really seeing, players tossing around that idea, which is kind of interesting, honestly. I'm happy to see, the meta shaping up in different directions, allowing for some different things, but, this is just crazy interesting just to see the tech choices that are being spun around here and, the things players are trying. Next up here, we have Dogmatica Monarchs. This is the dream, man. Evidently, this deck is pretty strong. Being able to use the tribute fodder through this to be able to capitalize and set up is so freaking free. This is the reason why, we like having interactions like this, just to be able to tribute through things the opponent has, which is nice. I also see we are playing Zoborg down here in the side deck. Man, that's a callback. Using basic Zoborg as a tool to immediately handle anything that the opponent's going to have issues with, it's going to be good. Also, one of the reasons why this deck is kind of the scary monster that it is because Zoborg and Mega Monarch is just going to run through the opponent's extra deck. And especially the minute that you get to start choosing the cards that you're siphoning off with Mega Zoborg, this card just turns into an absolute monster at handling problems. So I do want to say that, yeah, this is a little bit of a problem card, but at the same time, his job is to find those specific threats that's going to win the opponent the game and take them out. I also do see we are playing the Soul Exchange here. We also do have Domain, which, I mean, having Domain in the side deck is a one-of just for the potential level modifier. I think is fine. You're not going to be domain locking with this deck unless you can somehow tear through your entire extra deck. But I guess there is a world where, maybe we can go through 2 Mega Zoborgs in a potential dump, which I guess is possible. I'm not super crazy about that idea, but you do have a pretty decent anti-meta challenger here, which is not what I expected to see. I expected to see some, not this, but okay, I like it. And then we have good old Gem Knights. So actually kind of bringing up the rear here. It's kind of nice to see a second place deck for Gem Knights. Now, in terms of board breaking, this feels a little bit interesting. We are playing Crowns in the main deck, just to kind of be able to lock something on the opponent's field, I guess, or lock something on our field so we don't lose the game. But down here in the side deck, oh baby, this is what we talk about. This is the good stuff. This is where you bring in the Archlord Christia, and your opponent just looks at you and goes, how am I supposed to deal with this garbage? And that's the thing, right? Archlord Christia being a giant walking, talking floodgate monster whose job is just to grind out the opponent. It absolutely does it great. I do see the Vingolf's Blessing, though, also helps this up. You've also got the Sprite package in here to turbo through what you need to, but this is how Gem Knight's been evolving. It's not been the greatest evolution by any stretch of the imagination, which is fine. You don't need this deck to go crazy. What you need is consistency. You need the deck to do exactly what it's supposed to do, which is go second or go first in some cases. But I mean, that's why Gem Knight's kind of the weird pick. Also, I do love the fact that we do have the Dispatcherazi down here. This card's such a little funny inclusion into a deck like this, but it perfectly makes sense as to why, the deck is choosing to play this. So what do you guys think about another regional breakdown in the books here? I really am loving, just seeing how the diversity is going. So please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back in the day, guys. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.